Hey guys, welcome back to For Real Guide, or if you're new here, welcome. I hope you're all having an absolutely incredible day. Now, today's video is all about anxiety and some signs that you might be struggling with anxiety. And I'm not a psychologist, but I have really bad anxiety. I've dealt with it since probably my senior year of high school. I've gone to therapy, psychiatrist for multiple years, so I know a little bit about the signs that you might be struggling with it. Trust me, I know it's a huge problem with my life that has caused me to skip out on things and not live my most fulfilling life, and I don't want that to be your case. So without further ado, let's get into the signs that you might be struggling with anxiety. Okay, so the first sign you might have anxiety is if you fidget a lot. One of the things that I noticed is that I was always fidgeting, picking my nails, playing with my hair, rubbing my collarbone. Doing some of these different things can signal that you have anxiety. You really don't feel like you're ever rested. You feel like you constantly have to be moving or doing something. So if you find that you're doing that a lot and you're not able to just sit still, you might have anxiety. So the second way to know that you might be struggling with anxiety is if you feel like you can't breathe, you have heart palpitations, or other physical symptoms. Especially in the last couple years, my physical symptoms have honestly outweighed some of my mental symptoms of anxiety. So anxiety is not necessarily, I'm worried for a test, or I'm, nervous my boyfriend's gonna break up with me or something like that. A lot of times it's literally just physical things that are happening to your body. So if you find that you can't breathe that well, or your heart is racing, for me, a lot of times my hands will go numb, my feet will go numb, they get sweaty, my arms feel super heavy. Those are all symptoms that might be anxiety, and make sure you check on this because it might be some other serious health related issue, but a lot of times it can also be anxiety. So the third sign that you might have anxiety is if you feel like you're going crazy. When I first learned that feeling dissociative, feeling like an out-of-body experience, like I don't know who I am, or I'm gonna forget who I am, feeling genuinely just crazy. When I realized that that wasn't because I was genuinely crazy or dying or having a stroke, and I realized it was just anxiety, oh my God, my life changed. If you do feel like that, definitely go to a therapist or a psychiatrist to make sure that it is just anxiety, but that is one of the symptoms that I realized with myself, that I was just having panic attacks. I was just anxious. So the fourth sign that you might be struggling with anxiety is if you cancel plans or avoid certain situations. So this is dealing with a little bit more of the mental aspect of anxiety. And this can honestly, change throughout your life. You might be a little less socially anxious in high school, let's say. Maybe you felt super confident, but now that you're in college, you feel like you don't want to go to certain things. You don't want to try out for certain things that maybe you used to. You don't want to go make new friends, and maybe you used to love making friends. If you find that you're canceling plans, you're not trying out for things, you're not trying to meet new people, that could be a sign that you have social anxiety, and that's something that should definitely get figured out so that you can live your best life. Okay, so the fifth sign you might have anxiety is if you're using coping mechanisms a lot. Having anxiety can really deter you from being productive and living your best life. And a lot of the reason behind that is because you're relying on coping mechanisms, external coping mechanisms, in order to reduce your anxiety, to bring you back down to base level. For me, it was scrolling through TikTok. Anytime I'd feel a panic attack coming on or stress, I'd have to lay in my bed, decompress, scroll through TikTok, or I'd have to eat, or I'd have to drink something in order to make me feel better. And it was literally eating up so much of my time. It was making me less healthy. And it doesn't mean that you don't have willpower. It doesn't mean that you're not productive. It just means that you're dealing with anxiety and you're using these things that make you feel good for that short-term feel-good feeling, when you should really be figuring out anxiety and fixing anxiety at the root so that you're not wasting time on these coping mechanisms. So the sixth sign you might be dealing with anxiety is if you overthink. This pretty much has consumed a lot of what's going on in my head, and I'm sure that if you have anxiety, you feel the same way. That everything that could go wrong is probably gonna go wrong. Or, I'm reading into this situation. Why did they say what they said? Was there some sort of ulterior motive? Or, what if I'm gonna get fired? You think worst case scenario, or maybe not even worst case scenario, but you really hammer a lot of stuff way too hard in your brain that doesn't need to be. I find that something that helps me is I look through each step logically. Like, okay, what are the reasons I feel like I'm overthinking this? Is any of this factual? What are the facts? And if you try to just take things down to the bare roots of things and look at the facts, it can help you overthink. Also, distracting yourself really helps too, if you are going through a period of overthinking. Okay, so the seventh and final sign that you might be dealing with anxiety is if you feel drained a lot. I find that when I'm going through a period where I'm having a lot of panic attacks or I'm super, super anxious, I always feel drained. I feel sluggish. And that's because so much of your energy is put into stressing out about things. Your body is literally just like tired. So if you feel like more drained than you usually do, you feel like you can't do as many things, then you might be dealing with anxiety. All right, so there you guys have it. Those are 7 signs you might be dealing with anxiety. Now, make sure you go to a therapist or a psychiatrist if you feel like you had any of these symptoms, just to make sure that you're doing okay and to get yourself the treatment you need. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to like the video so I know to keep making more like this, and subscribe to my channel so that we can grow and you're also always getting notified when I upload more self-care, self-growth type videos. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.